Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class series. One second. So we will continue our discussion with chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, which is Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. So before we get started, let us recite Mangalacharan prayers and get started. Okay, I think you can see the screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Paritana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we will continue with Bhagavad Gita Chapter 12. We completed till verse number 5. We will try to make progress. Again, today is 1 hour class because of Kartik month. So, because we are doing all these outreach programs throughout the month of Kartik. So today included. So far in chapter 12, we have covered 5 verses. Chapter 12 is very important, devotional service or Bhakti Yoga. And Arjuna asks a question that which is a better form of worship to Lord Krishna, his manifest or his unmanifest form, Vyakta and Avyakta. And here I had explained in last 2 classes in great detail that Avyakta does not mean Mayavad, where one considers that the form that we see of the Lord is material. There is anything material in it. That is not the case. That philosophy is called Mayavada, because then the understanding that they have, which is completely wrong, is that the Lord's Bhagavan form is either material fully or is partially material, whereas the Avyakta form is fully spiritual. So the correct understanding is that the form, the Vyakta form, is also fully spiritual, and of course the Avyakta or the unmanifest, which is also known as the Supreme Brahman, is also fully spiritual. So which is better, even though both are spiritual? That is the question. And we went into a lot of details about Guna and Nirguna and all that. And we, I think, discussed the ultimate sort of proof from verse number 14.27 and 13.3, which will come in the future, that Lord Krishna says that his Vyakta or his personal form as Bhagavan is the highest. And that is the basis of the Brahman. The Brahman is the effect, the Bhagavan is the cause. So this all we covered till last time. And another important thing that we covered last time is that the Lord said the worship of either is valid, but as long as we are embodied, which means as long as we are in the material world, we have to have a body. So as long as we are in the material world or we are embodied, the worship of the unmanifest form is very troublesome and problematic. So Lord Krishna says, klesho adhikataras tesham, adhika klesha, lot or very much problematic. So we discussed all that, and then verse 6 and 7 comes. So Lord Krishna is giving a very clear contrast. In verse 5, he is using the term adhikataro klesham or klesha adhikataro tesham. So adhika klesha is on one end of the spectrum. Let us see what Lord Krishna says on the other end of the spectrum for those who worship the personal form. So that is the discussion we are going to have today. And this is verse number 6 and 7 today. So this is our Bhagavad Gita as it is. I hope all of you have it in front of you in your hands. Today I'm in a different setting, so you can see my book in front of me because I will hold it. But all of you should have this book. Today I will not do the iPad drawing or the whiteboarding because of the situation. I don't have a big table. There's a small table and all that. So we will just follow with the textbook. I have 1 or 2 slides I want to show you if we get that far. So we will see. So text number 6 and 7, don't just look at it in isolation. It can very much be looked at in isolation, but you get more essence, more learning out of it if you look at it as a contrast to verse number 5. All right. So verse number 5 was the klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta asakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhir avapyate. Then this one is ye tu sarvani karmani. One second, let me close this. Ye tu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyeva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate Tesam aham sammudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami cha na chirat partha mai aveshita chetasam. So very, very important verse. This can be counted 6 and 7. Chapter 12, 6 and 7 can be counted as a few of the topmost verses of the Bhagavad Gita, because Lord Krishna is once again telling the absolute supremacy of bhakti. So let us do a word by word discussion of this verse. Ye tu sarvani karmani. So those who, ye tu, but, tu means but. So therefore it is a continuation from previous. The thought is continuing, but. So that one was adhika klesha, but this one is what? Sarvani karmani, those who are doing all their work, sarvani karmani, all their work, mai sanyasya matpara. Mai sanyasya means doing it with my consciousness, with are giving up all kinds of material activities, and matparah are always in full consciousness of me. Matparah means in complete consciousness of me, with full attachment to me. They are doing all their work. They have given up all other material kind of activity. Ananya eva yogena. So ananya eva. Ananya means no other. Yogena eva, only yogena mam. So eva, Srila Prabhupada translates as certainly. Another translation, or in a similar thought, the translation is certainly or only. Only is also a good translation of the word eva. So ananya, no other, and only what? Yogena mam, only doing my work, or only focusing, doing my yoga dhyayanta upasate. So are always meditating on me, doing their worship by meditating on me. Upasate, doing worship. Dhyayanta, mam dhyayanta, always keeping me in their mind, who are doing my worship. So this is what, so 12.6 is describing what devotees are doing. Okay, so you can see this is just direct bhakti yoga. Always keeping Krishna in their consciousness, but this is not dhyana mishra bhakti. This is real bhakti because there is action. Sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparah. They are going about doing their activities, but with full consciousness of me. So this is what a bhakta does. So 12.6 is describing what a bhakta does. 12.7 is describing what Krishna does. So this is a 6 and 7 is a beautiful combination of reciprocation of Krishna. Bhakta does this, I do this. So what does Krishna say? Tesam aham sammudharta. This is beautiful point. So to those, Tesam means to those, aham, Bhagavan is saying I. Sammudharta is a very important word. Sammudharta means I am the deliverer or I am the carrier. I pick them up. So I pick them up. They may be falling down, but I pick them up. Aham sammudharta. So not by their own strength. Not by their own strength. I pick them up by my strength. That is the understanding. So this is showing Lord Krishna's what he does. This contrast, where else you see such strong contrast? This is what the devotee does. This is what I do. Anybody? All of you who are studying Bhagavad Gita seriously, where else? There is one place in Bhagavad Gita we have covered so far where devotee does this, I does this, I do this.
Yogakshem Vahamyam, 9th.
Yes, that is very nice. Actually, I did not think of that. 9.22 is Yogakshemam Vahamyam. So, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Parupasate. Tesham Nitya Abhiyuktanam Yogakshem. Very nice. Actually, that's a very nice example. I should add it to my list. Thank you. So Yogakshemam Vahamyaham is the Lord's reciprocation, but if the first line was not there, then it would not be an answer to my question. So because the first line is there, that Tesham Satata Yuktana, sorry, not Tesham Satata Yuktanam. I mean, Tesham Nitya Abhiyuktanam. I do this for those who are Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, who are always absorbed in my thoughts. Another place where this is in the Chatur Shloki, 10.8 to 10.11, where 8 and 9 are showing what the devotee does, 10 and 11 are showing how Krishna reciprocates. So you can read the Chatur Shloki, we have gone through it many times. So that is another place. Similarly, 12.6 and 12.7 is a reciprocation combination. So Tesham aham sammudharta. I lift them up from this mrityu sansara. He says from where? Sammudharta, from where? Mrityu sansara sagarat. This sagar, this ocean of mrityu samsara. From there, I lift him up. This is there. You cannot get more direct about what Krishna does as a response to his bhaktas. And not after too much time. Bhavami na chirat partha. Na chirat. Another super important emphasis by Lord Krishna. Quickly I do it. I don't wait for very long. Na chirat. Chira, you mean, you know what a chira means? Chiranjeevi, we give Ashirvad, no? Chiranjeevi bhava. Chira means long time. Okay? Na chirat means not a long time, which means quickly. Bhavami na chirat partha. I become that, the sammudharta bhavami. I become the deliverer quickly. Please try to understand every word. This is just beautiful promise by Lord Shri Krishna for his bhaktas. Mai aveshita chetasam. For those who have chetasa means their mind, mai aveshita, who have completely invested their mind in me. All right. So that is the broken down understanding of the word by word of this verse. This is very, very important. So the translation given by Srila Prabhupada is, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me. This was the first verse. Next is, having fixed their minds upon me. This is Mai Aveshita Chetasam. O son of Partha, for them I am the swift deliverer. Swift is na chirat, deliverer is sammudharta from the ocean of birth and death. Mrityu samsara sagarat. So that is the translation given by Srila Prabhupada. So very, very huge contrast. 12.5, Tesam or Klesho Adhikataras Tesham. Lot of trouble. Here I lift. So I have this nice PowerPoint. Let me just share. Where is this? Sharing. Share. Can you see this PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. So nice picture where the devotee you can see is here in this Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. So the picture is showing directly the Mrityu Samsara Sagar. Okay. And there Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu is coming on Garudaji and he is lifting up the devotee. The devotee is not expected to swim and find the beach or the shore or the bank of the river or ocean wherever he is. Does not have to. He just has to completely surrender himself. Mai aveshita chetasam. And then Krishna becomes the Tesam aham sammudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. Please remember this line. Tesam aham sammudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. And you know, that is what this picture is showing. So very, very nice point. And the example, one of the examples that is given is if a person has fallen down in a well, okay, then one option is that he has to climb up and there is a rope. Okay, so he has to put the effort to climb up the rope. He has to be a Navy SEAL or whatever, you know, army person to climb up a rope. It's not easy. Very difficult. The rope is there, which means the path is there. The path of impersonal liberation exists. But you have to climb with your own strength. Whereas in the other option, Bhagavan is sending a big bucket fixed to a rope. All you have to do is sit in the bucket. He will pull you up like you get water out of a well. So that is the distinction. In one case, you have to climb up the rope. And in the second case, Bhagavan pulls you out by himself. He sends a very nice bucket, a very nice container in which you can comfortably sit down and he will pull you up. And that container in which one can comfortably sit down is the shelter of Shravanam and Kirtanam, is the shelter of pure devotees, is this association of pure devotees, and always keeping Krishna in their mind through Shravana and Kirtana. So those are the two most important processes of devotional service. So, yeah, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is referring Garuda Purana, Varaha Purana, and so many other references. And here Srila Prabhupada is also mentioning simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. A devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. So that is the process. So one has to take shelter of the Lord's name, of his Shravana and Kirtana, Bhagavat Shravana and Kirtana, and Bhagavat Seva, and that is all that is needed. Okay, so that is 12.6 and 12.7. Fairly quick, but supremely important. And you might think I'm spending more time on the less important verses like 12.5. Well, 12.5 is a warning verse that don't consider impersonal path. It's very problematic. So it is important, but for those who are devotees, for those who are bhaktas, they don't have to bother, but we spent a lot of time on that. And the reason is simple. Bhakti is very simple. For those who want to adopt it with shraddha and faith, it is not hard. Bhakti is very straightforward. So what Lord Krishna is telling us, just surrender to me, just take shelter of my Shravana and Kirtana, and I will do the rest. Don't worry. It is very simple. There is not much more to explain. Whereas in the other case, there is a lot to explain because it is complicated. So complicated stuff takes more time to explain. Simple stuff does not. But the simple stuff, which is the quick and easy path to your goal, is easy to explain, is because it's simple. So that is the point. Okay. Now comes the next section of chapter 12. So we will see if we can cover this next section of chapter 12. So let me show you this sort of slide, which is a section summary of chapter 12. So first 7 verses which we have covered is the worship of the personal form is superior to focusing on the impersonal Brahman. That is what is being said here. We have covered that. Next 5 verses, 8 to 12, Lord Krishna is now going deeper into bhakti, how to perform bhakti. So now this is a very, very practical understanding of bhakti. So for those who have shraddha or faith in bhakti, in the process of bhakti or devotional service, which is the recommended process by Lord Krishna, they should focus on 8 to 12. So all of you, this is the time to focus if you are interested in the practical application of bhakti. So Lord Krishna is describing progressive stages of bhakti, and he will describe 4 stages of bhakti. So I have those stages in another slide, in one single slide, and each verse is describing one of those stages. 8, 9, 10, and 11. 12th verse is giving a overall comparison, which we will talk about later. So 4 verses, 8, 9, 10, and 11 are giving the 4 stages of bhakti in a descending order from the topmost to the lower ones. So let us see what those are. So I will leave this slide here and I will discuss these 4 verses. Am I still screen sharing? I'm on my laptop today. Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. Thank you. So the 4 stages of bhakti are being described here in 8 to 12 or 8 to 11 rather. And the first stage is Shuddha Bhakti, the next one is Sadhana Bhakti, and the next 2 are progressive stages of Seva Bhakti. So let us see what they are. So verse 8 is describing again what a devotee does. The activity of a devotee who is a pure devotee, Shuddha Bhakta. So this is Shuddha Bhakti. So it says, Mayi eva manaha adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivaishyasi mayi eva ata urdhvam na sanshayah. So mayi eva mana adhatsva. So mayi eva. So again I told you eva is certainly or only. So mayi eva, only on me, certainly on me alone, no other place. So Krishna is focusing many times on exclusive bhakti to Krishna. There is no point in putting your feet in 2 boats. Put your foot, all your feet, body, everything in one boat, which is Krishna Bhakti. Mayi eva mana, your mind, fix your mind on me. Adhatsva, adhatsva means to fix. So fix your man on me only. Mayi buddhim niveshaya, invest, nivesha means to invest, to apply your intelligence, buddhi on me. Mayi buddhim niveshaya. So mind and intelligence on me. Nivasishyasi, mayi eva. So nivasishyasi means nivas. You understand what is nivas? What is nivas? To live or residence.
Shelter.
Shelter, yes. So by taking shelter of me or living in my consciousness, you can interpret it in several ways. All of them are very close. So nivasishyasi mayi eva, again me only. Ata urdhvam na sanshayaha. So like this, you should live your life. So the translation is, just fix your mind upon me, the supreme personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. So you will live in me, you will live with me, you will live in me, whichever way you want to think about it. There are so many personal liberations, salokya, samipya, sarupya, sarishti. All of those are, equally, beautiful forms of liberation, or the topmost destination. And you will live in me without a doubt. Na samshayaha. So that is what Krishna is saying. So basically the point is fixing one's mind and intelligence completely on Krishna. 24/7, one is completely in consciousness of Krishna. Now, this is not a very simple thing to do. This is for the, this is what we see in some of the greatest devotees of the Lord. So I have, one should not think like, oh, I am always thinking of Krishna, so I am at the level of 12.8. That in 99.999999% of the cases is an illusion. This stage is reached when one's complete consciousness is on Krishna and there is absolutely no attachment to anything material at all, even for 1 minute. So, if one claims that I am at this level, and if on the other hand you are, I don't know, watching a movie one day, or you are having this thing in your heart, oh, I have sent this message, why didn't I get a reply? Does he not respect me? Or any of those kind of thoughts, if they are coming, then they are material thoughts. So one should have a very clear understanding of the high level of Krishna consciousness, this Shuddha Bhakti that 12.8 is talking about. One should not think that it is some level where, oh yes, I am always thinking of Krishna, I am a Shuddha Bhakta. Great, I don't need to do any sadhana. Because the next verse will talk about sadhana. So, so when we see such devotees who are Shuddha Bhaktas, to see such devotees, we should read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And many other books, even Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is so many descriptions of pure devotees. And for example, Srila Prabhupada. And if you want more examples from the Puranas and Bhagavatam level, like Hanumanji is a Shuddha Bhakta. And there are so many, even contemporary time, Mirabai, for example, always absorbed in Krishna. In Chaitanya Leela, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself appeared as a devotee, but devotees like Haridas Thakur and so many other devotees, constantly their entire consciousness is devoted to Lord Krishna. Absolutely not thinking of anything material. That is what this verse is meaning. So don't take it cheaply, or don't don't dilute the significance of this verse. This is the stage of Shuddha Bhakti. Okay. So that is the verse. The next verse, Atah chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mai sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. So now 12.9. So what Lord Krishna is saying that if you are not able to na shaknoshi mai sthiram, if you are not able to atah chittam samadhatum, if you cannot fix your chitta on me and you are not able to do it in a stable way, mai sthiram, with complete focus, if you are not able to do, then what you should do? Abhyasa yogena. You should do the practice. Abhyasa yogena tato. And this yoga that is being talked about here obviously is Bhakti Yoga. You must do the practice of the previous verse. Try to focus your mind on me. Mam tato mam ipchhaptum dhananjaya. Then what will happen? Then you will have the desire to come to me. Because the previous verse was what it was saying, thus you will live in me. You will come to me. So then you will develop a strong desire to come to me. So always a motivation is very necessary to do something. If there is a strong motivation, it's very easy to do the action. But when one is not convinced or one does not feel that internal inspiration, that strong motivation to do something, it does not come. The action does not come. So for example, I was giving this example some other time. We say, in myself included, we should do exercise, we should do dieting, but we keep lazing, and whenever we see nice things to eat or whatever, then we eat sweets and all the unhealthy stuff. And then when we have to go do exercise for 2 hours, then oh no, not 2 hours, 20 minutes is enough. So because we don't see that motivation, okay, nothing will happen to me, maybe tomorrow I will do. But if somebody has had a very serious heart attack or something like that, then everything falls in line. So when there is a very strong motivation, a strong desire, action follows. That is what Lord Krishna is saying, how to develop that desire to go to Krishna. Mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. To develop that ichha to go to Bhagavan, do sadhana bhakti. By sadhana bhakti, one can develop that desire. So the translation is, we went through the verse. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, Dhananjaya, that is, if you cannot fix your mind upon me, that is what Lord Krishna is saying. Na shaknoshi samadhatum chittam. I am just kind of taking it that. Na shaknoshi, not able to fix samadhatum chittam, your mind. Mayi, sthiram, in a stable way. So if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, na sthiram, or mayi na sthiram, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. That is, abhyasa yogena tato. That do the abhyasa yoga, the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Abhyasa yogena tato. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. So you will develop a desire to attain me. So the learning is that to develop that strong desire, that asakti, that attachment or attraction to the Lord, sadhana bhakti is the means. So please understand this very carefully. Sadhana bhakti is what leads to the inspiration and encouragement to perform strong bhakti yoga and become a pure devotee. So that is the meaning. Let me see what else I have in my notes. Yeah. So in the purport, it's the 1-page purport by Srila Prabhupada, and towards the end, he has given very nice ways in which one should do sadhana. So through, of course, there is the Navadha Bhakti, or the 9 processes of devotional service, but Srila Prabhupada has repeatedly, and all acharyas have said that the first 2 are the most potent, which is Shravanam and Kirtanam. And also, according to what Lord Chaitanya has given us, the 9 steps of devotional service. This is the Navadha Bhakti, 9 processes, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. There are 9 steps which are more sequential, one after the other. The first 3 steps, very, very important, which is Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, and Bhajan Kriya. Very important. And you can see here that with faith, with Shraddha, having the faith on the practice, you must have faith that, yes, if I do this practice, I will make progress. So that faith is important. With that faith, the practice that you do is Bhajan Kriya and Sadhu Sangha. And what I want to focus on is the Sadhu Sangha part, which is association. Never try to think that you can do it in isolation, sitting on a, like a Robinson Crusoe on an island. Association, Sadhu Sangha is very, very important. And you don't, if you find any elevated or senior devotees, go associate with them and hear Bhagavad Katha from them. And if you don't find that, you can always read their books, listen to their recordings. And also, if you can associate with those who are not very senior. Whoever is available, as long as you are discussing Bhagavad Katha, Krishna Katha, associate with others and encourage each other. That is the main point of 10.9. Mad chittah mad gatah prana bodhayantah parasparam. So that bodhayanta parasparam is the parasparam is with each other. Kathayantascha mam nityam. In association, parasparam with each other, do Krishna Katha or Bhagavad Katha. So here I will just read couple of lines from the purport by Srila Prabhupada. To practice, this is the last paragraph, beginning of the last para. It will take too much time to change the sharing and all. But this is the last para of purport in Bhagavad Gita as it is, to 12.9. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, so that's another important point I will come to, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna. Then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuff to offer to the deity, take prasadam, and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow. And one should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God, and then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga, under the rules and regulations, with the direction of a spiritual master, will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. So the points to note here is, doing the activities of bhakti will encourage one to get attached and attracted to Krishna. Do it in association of devotees. No mundane talks or material discussions with devotees. Of course, if they are having some trouble, or you can ask them about, Gohyam Akhyati Prichhati. We will discuss this later. But you can discuss about how is everything going, about their well-being, because there is love and care for the devotee. But not discussing, oh, Elon Musk has done this to Twitter and that to Twitter, and all that nonsense should be completely, discarded. And discussing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Katha in association of devotees, and take guidance from seniors. Now here Srila Prabhupada is saying, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master. He has said this twice. Later on also he has said, with the direction of a spiritual master. And this is another important point. Anybody and everybody who is serious in the process of bhakti should very seriously consider taking shelter of a spiritual master. Not because the spiritual master will give you 24/7 one-on-one instructions, but it officially connects you to the parampara, to the sampradaya. Just like you can study textbooks on your own, but to have that confidence that, yes, I know the subject matter and I am making progress, it's better to enroll with a university and get a degree. So you can say, yes, my children also have seen, they have done a lot of self-study, but they tell me that no, once I have done the course now they're in university, and once I have done the course, they say, now I understand the subject fully. Then after some time I discuss with them some contents of the course, they say, everything I told them you already knew. Tell me one thing new that you have learned in this course, because you already know it. They said, yeah, I didn't learn anything new. I knew all of it, but going through the course, doing all the problem sets, attending all the lectures, studying from a formal textbook, and getting it on that course on my transcript gives me so I'm talking at a material level, but gives me that sense that I really know the subject. So there is, in the material sense itself, if there is value in an official enrollment and studying something under an official sort of a umbrella, it all the more matters a lot in the spiritual matters to take shelter of a spiritual master and perform one's bhakti. A whole level of seriousness comes in one's heart. So please, those who are seriously considering progress in Krishna bhakti, this is a very important step in your spiritual life. Okay, so we have covered 2 steps. So we covered 12.8, which is Shuddha Bhakti. We covered 12.9, which is Sadhana Bhakti, or the Bhakti of practice. And of course, Srila Prabhupada has, and even the previous acharyas have instituted this system, chanting Hare Krishna for about 2 hours every day, which is 16 rounds of Hare Krishna japa, and the 4 regulative principles constitutes sadhana bhakti. That is one minimum what one should do. 2 hours of japa, 16 rounds of japa, and the 4 regulative principles, which is no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit connections with the opposite gender, except within married life. So all this is part of sadhana bhakti, practice of devotional service. So we are all training ourselves. We are all trainees. Then next one, Lord Krishna says, if you cannot do that, if you cannot do very regular sadhana, then what you should do. So we will just, it makes sense to finish 12.10 and 11 today, maybe 12 also. So I will read the English only. So 12.10 is Seva Bhakti level 1. What it means is that work for Krishna. If you are seeing on the slides, work for Krishna, which means do Krishna's work. What Krishna says, do this, you do that. Just follow his instructions. So the translation is, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So the Sanskrit, I am tempted to go into the Sanskrit. Abhyase abhi asamartho asi. If you are asamartha, unable to do that abhyas, which was mentioned in the previous one, mat karma paramo bhava. So do my work. Mat karmo paramo. Mat karma paramo. My karma, which is the highest thing, do that. Mad artham api karmani. Mad artham means because of my benefit or whatever I like. Mad artham means whatever I like, whatever I want you to do. Mad artham api karmani. By doing that work, kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. That you will attain, your work will be perfect. Whatever you are doing will be perfect. So it means doing Krishna's work. Okay, the difference between Seva Bhakti level 1 and 2, like I have mentioned, you are doing Krishna's work. In Seva Bhakti level 2, it means you do what you like, but offer the results to Krishna. That is the difference. So, one of my favorite teachers, or whom I learned, I mean, he may not know that I am his student, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, describes it like this, that in Seva Bhakti level 1, first you are thinking of Krishna. Please listen to this carefully. First you think of Krishna, then you do the work. So you think of Krishna, my dear Krishna, what does he like me to do? What would he like me to do? Then you do that. So first you think of Krishna, then you take action, then you do karma. So there is first consciousness of Krishna, then action in Krishna consciousness. Whereas in Seva Bhakti level 2, first you do your action, then you think of Krishna. Oh, I have done this action. Okay, now whatever results I get from doing that action, then I say, oh, I got these results. What should I do with these results? Let me offer it to Krishna. So action in Seva Bhakti level 2, action comes first, Krishna consciousness comes next. That is why it is at a lower level than the previous one, because the previous one starts with Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? Are you all following? Hopefully. It's not that difficult.
So gradually two will become one.
Gradually two will become one. Of course, yes. 100% correct. Yeah. So if you cannot, so where were we? 12.10. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Mera kaam karo. Do my work. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Okay, next one, 12.11, Lord Krishna is saying, and okay, before that, 12.10, Srila Prabhupada has given so many examples of how you can work for Krishna. Okay, so many things you can do for Krishna. One of the best things that you can do for Krishna. Now, of course, this does not include chanting for Krishna, because then you are in the 12.9 category. That is Shravana, Kirtana, or the practicing to remember Krishna all the time takes you to the next level. So you cannot say that 12.10 has to be something lower than that. So, for example, what you can do is, if you think, oh, I must help to construct the temple of Krishna. So let me go and earn some money. Whatever money I will earn, I will donate for the construction of the temple of Krishna. So it is about going out and interacting with the material world and doing some activity that produces some fruit. Now, Bhagavat Shravana, Kirtan does not produce any material fruit. It is spiritual. 12.10 and 11, there is a fruit, a material fruit. Karma phala. The point is to offer that phala to Krishna. 12.10 means the source of this whole karma and phala was Krishna consciousness. First you think about Krishna, then you do karma, then you use the phala for Krishna. 12.11 is you first do karma, you will get phala, then you think, how can I use this for Krishna? Then you use it for Krishna. But the point here, I am differentiating 12.10 and 11 with 12.9 is that there is a material fruit involved. How to use that fruit for Krishna? Something that does not have any fruit involved cannot fall in this category. That becomes higher category, 12.9 or sadhana bhakti, like Shravana Kirtana. Okay, I hope you're all following. So therefore, 12.10, Srila Prabhupada is saying, and I'm reading from somewhere in the middle of the purport. there are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness, and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. And later on in the purport, he says the only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification. The same work, that is the point. The work is the same. It produces material results, that work. Okay. That same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is a spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, he can help building a temple or an office for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activity, and one should be interested in such activities. So, one of the best things that Krishna says that you can do is to distribute Bhagavad Gita in 12.69. He says that 68 and 69, Lord Krishna says that for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. I'm reading from chapter 18, verse number 68 and 69. And at the end, he will come back to me. 69, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So one basically who goes and explains this supreme secret, this Bhagavad Gita to others, is very dear to Krishna. Now one can say that that is a borderline 12.9 activity. So that itself is, going and actually distributing Bhagavad Gita, maybe that. But to purchase, if you are giving a book is not free, at least in today's material world. It costs some money to print, publish, ship, distribute. So you can use your hard-earned money for this purpose. Srila Prabhupada says here that one can help with publication. So all this is doing Krishna's work. Okay? Thinking that I want to work for Krishna, now let me go and do some material activity, get some material fruit. But the purpose of doing the material activity and getting the fruit is to use it for Krishna. That has already been established beforehand. 12.11 is if that Krishna consciousness comes later. So what is Krishna saying here? 12.11. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me. So the other thing is, when you are doing the work in 12.10, as you are doing the work, you are conscious of Krishna, because you started doing the work with Krishna consciousness in mind. So while you are doing the work, obviously Krishna will be in your mind. As you are getting the money, let's say you are selling books. As you are getting the money, you know this money is, I'm going to use it for Krishna. You will keep it very safely in your pocket. If the money is lost, you will think Krishna's money has been lost, not mine. So like that, all the time, while you are engaged in that material activity, you will be conscious of Krishna. If 12.11 is saying, if you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act, giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. Sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. So in the verse directly, it is not mentioned that you should give up the results to me. That is not mentioned in the verse directly. What is mentioned in the verse is sarva karma phalatyagam. Just renounce. But Srila Prabhupada says here, and there are different acharyas have given little bit slightly different commentaries. Srila Prabhupada is saying that for one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. So Srila Prabhupada is giving a still lower level that you use it for some good cause. But later on, towards the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that, where is that? Let me find it. Yeah. In that respect, social service, community service, national service, sacrifice for one's country, etc., may be accepted so that someday one may come to the stage of pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And another line before that is also recommended here, because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually. And in that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain here that by developing this mood of detachment and giving up one's results, one comes to the stage of Krishna consciousness. Other acharyas, more specifically Srila Vishvanatha Chakravarthy Thakur, describes that when Lord Krishna here is saying sarva karma phala tyagam, he is specifically referring to that tyaga for Krishna, because of the previous line where he says kartum mad yogam ashritaha. So if you cannot, one has to connect those two lines. If you cannot work in this consciousness of me, then renounce the results of your activities to me. So you have to say that if you cannot work in consciousness of me, at least the results that you get, give those to me. Like I explained in the previous case, 12.10, as you are working, you are conscious of Krishna. Okay, in 12.11, as you were working, you were not conscious of Krishna, but whatever fruits you get, give those in Krishna consciousness. Become conscious of Krishna once you get the fruits. And if you get the fruits at that time, if you are Krishna conscious, then you will give the fruits to Krishna. Karma phala tyagam. Why will you give it to somebody else? If you are Krishna conscious at that time, after receiving the fruits, you will give it to Krishna. So that is the understanding. Srila Prabhupada has taken it a little more gradually. That, okay, first you can use it for some altruistic, some good cause. And soon enough, you will realize that you can use it for Krishna. So that is 12.11. All right. And I have put some notes there at the bottom, very in small font. I'm not going to go through those in detail, but I think it gets captured nicely in the recording and you can read through those. Basically, the same thing that I explained has been summarized in those notes in the small font, which is this one here I'm talking about, this one. Okay. Then last few minutes, let me finish 12.12. So 12.12 is a very complex verse. Different acharyas have given different commentaries, but I will give you a very simple understanding, good enough for our level. If you are interested to go much deeper, you are welcome to read other commentaries, especially by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan and Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarthy Thakur. Srila Prabhupada has given a very simple understanding, which is what I will explain to you. 12.12. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. So the last level, if you cannot do sadhana bhakti or suddha bhakti, then sadhana bhakti, seva bhakti 1, seva bhakti 2, if you cannot do any of those, that means there is some problem in your motivation. You are just interested in material fruits to enjoy for yourself. That is the understanding then. That's the level. To eradicate, or to not eradicate, but to fix that, because soon enough you will realize this sense gratification is useless. Ultimately, it leads to dukkha. Your attachments will lead to dukkha. It leads to lust, greed, and anger. Kama, krodha, and moha. So that's what it leads to. But so therefore, to rectify that, engage in jnana. But here jnana means bhakti jnana. Read devotional literature and increase your understanding of who is Krishna and why you should do bhakti. So engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. And even if that is not possible, engage in just jnana, atma jnana. You will realize that this material world is very temporary. There are more miseries than pleasures. Therefore, you will wonder, how can I get something more permanent? That is atma jnana. That is how all jnanis start. Frustration with the material world, frustration with sense gratification, and looking for a more permanent solution. That is the starting point for jnana. So at least engage in that. Take the slow and gradual path. If you want to go up, take the staircase. At least if you don't want to take the elevator, we have talked about this elevator and staircase example so many times. At least start going up the staircase. After going 5 floors, you will realize, oh my God, this is too hard. Then you will see, oh, there is an elevator. Why didn't I see it before? Then you may jump on the elevator at that point. Elevator means bhakti yoga. So engage in jnana. Then he says, better than jnana, better than knowledge, however, is meditation. So now Krishna is summarizing, better than jnana is dhyana, meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. Now you will think that why is karma yoga, renunciation of the fruits of action is karma yoga, why it is higher than dhyana, or what is known as the Ashtanga yoga or Dhyana yoga. Why is karma higher than that? But here, that karma which is being referred to here is the Seva Bhakti 2 level of karma. So that is higher. So basically, Lord Krishna is not giving 4 levels. He's giving 6 levels. So the 4 levels are what? Shuddha Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, Seva Bhakti 1, Seva Bhakti 2. Below that, Seva Bhakti 2 comes Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, that is, and the lowest is Jnana Yoga. So this karma that is Lord Krishna is talking about, renunciation of the fruits, he is connecting it to the previous verse, that better than knowledge. He's saying if you cannot do anything, at least engage in knowledge, but better than knowledge is to do Dhyana Yoga, focusing on Paramatma, and better than that is working, giving the fruits of your work to Krishna. So that is Dhyanat Karma Phala Tyagas Tyagat Shantir Anantaram. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. So that is 12.12. So you can see here from this whole discussion that Lord Krishna is so kind. He is giving us so many levels. Wherever you are, even if you are not the topmost, even if you're not the 2nd level, 3rd level, he's giving so many levels. Somewhere he is encouraging and inspiring all of us to start our bhakti, our process of bhakti. So, yeah. Let me stop the sharing, see what comments are there on the chat. Any other comments, questions? Yeah, nothing on the chat. Any questions? And I'm in the meantime seeing my notes here.
An individual is always a bit of that, a bit of this. This is like all the 6 stages which you have said, apart from the stage 12.8. In other stages, you have adopted some of this, you have adopted some of this, you have adopted some of this. So
what do you mean? Below all the 6 stages at a broad level, now there are many finer stages, but at the lowest level is just
for example, if somebody can be in stage
karma kanda, and below that is animalistic life.
That's right.
Pure sense gratification. Go ahead.
So what I mean to say is that one may be involved in, let's say, japa, on those 4 characteristics which you just said.
Yes.
But he is still not qualifying maybe as this stage 12.9. He is maybe somewhere in stage 12.6. because he may be just a beginner.
Yeah.
So there is a mix-up
Yeah.
of these stages in every person.
Yeah, based on the time and place.
Yeah.
While you are doing japa, while you are doing Bhagavat Shravana, Kirtana, you may be doing the practice 12.9, but then you are going out and working.
Right.
And some part of your work, fruits, whatever money or whatever you get, or your time, you are giving for Krishna, then you are in 12.10 or 11. So yes, it could be, it's not very black and white. Now I have finished 3rd grade, now I'm in 4th grade.
Correct, correct.
It's not like that. Yes, it's very gradual and there is a mixture, but the idea is one should continue to keep going up.
Right.
And that is why a spiritual guide, a spiritual master is very important, from with whom you have a constant connection, to just, have a coach. It's not like he is higher, you are lower. I was explaining to you, or maybe in some other class I was explaining, again, my son is a silver medalist in the International Math Olympiad. One of his students last year won a gold medal. So technically, again, these are very crude measures. If you have a good day, you can get, it depends on, sometimes the best people don't do well, and sometimes, whatever. But anyway, technically that guy got a gold medal, highest. And in the US team, he scored the most points, and he was a student of my son. Even this year he is competing, he's still taking lessons from my son. Technically, he's a gold medalist, my son is a silver medalist.
Right.
So it is not that you have to be lower. It is about having, even, for example, the best in sports also, the best sportsmen always have a coach, and the coach may not be the top person. I don't know who is the coach of the Indian cricket team today, but whatever may be the cricket players, I don't know, but the topmost cricket players may be better than the coach. Not even today, even when the coach was young and was a player, today's player may be much better than he was in his age. Still, they listen to the coach. There is something to be said about having a coach, because the coach can see your blind spots, can see what you are missing, and try to.
Dronacharya and Arjun. I'm saying,
yes,
like
exactly.
Dronacharya and Arjun.
Arjun, I cannot compare them, but yeah, if Arjun is, greater archer than Dronacharya, but still, yeah, maybe, again, that may be a little bit,
It's a course
we don't know
correction.
who was better, but anyway, yes, that's the point. So taking shelter of a guru and having a spiritual mentor or a guide is very, very beneficial. Any other questions? Okay, so we covered till 12.12. So we covered the second section of chapter 12. We covered first section. We finished the first section today, where we established that both are valid processes, the worship of impersonal form and Bhagavan, the personal form, as Krishna. But the worship of Krishna in the personal form is so much easier and, happier, because Krishna lifts us up. He comes, that picture, if you remember, that picture is so inspiring, where Krishna says that Tesam aham sammudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. That line is so nice. And also bhavami na chirat partha. Na chirat is also very encouraging. Quickly I will do it. Okay, that is Lord Krishna said that. That is one point. And then we covered 5 verses, 12.8, 9, 10, 11 are the 4 levels of bhakti. Below that are 2 more levels, Dhyana and Dhyana. Okay, and the 4 levels of bhakti were Shuddha Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, Seva Bhakti level 1, where you first think of Krishna, then do material activity and use the fruits for Krishna. And Seva Bhakti level 2 is that you do some material action, you get material fruits, then you think of Krishna and offer the fruit to Krishna. That is Seva Bhakti level 2. And then if you don't even have that mentality, if you are in a mentality of sense gratification, try to address that sense gratification through jnana, trying to realize how temporary and useless this sense gratification is. It is not going to last long. Ultimately, it will give pain. Jnana helps with that. So we will end here. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and continue to do Damodar Ashtakam. I had sent out, I think, I don't know which group I sent out, but Damodar Ashtakam, you can go for it. Kartik month, offer a ghee lamp to Lord Krishna. Just simple activity. He's not asking for $10,000. He's not even asking for $1. He's asking for a simple ghee lamp, which costs maybe, 1 rupee or, 10 cents, whatever. Offer it to a picture of Lord Krishna and sing the Damodar Ashtakam every day. Read the meaning of Damodar Ashtakam. Recently, I uploaded a class on YouTube where I have explained nicely the meaning of Damodar Ashtakam. If possible, listen to that. Relish Damodar Ashtakam. I've given it the title, Relishing Shri Damodar Ashtakam. Relish Damodar Ashtakam, sing it, offer a ghee lamp in this month of Kartik, and try to make, that is also a process of sadhana bhakti. It's not material process, there is no material fruit. It is a spiritual process, but you are doing it as a practice because we do not have that deep love for Krishna yet. Okay? Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.